right, Student Association report will not be here.
They will report in February.
And then Superintendent's report?
Not much to report, except that we had to cancel another 2 days of classes this week, so that's 4 already this year. The board approved at its last meeting to make up the first 2 cancellations on Casimir-Pulaski Day and on President's Day, which were previously scheduled as non-student attendance days. Pam and her building staff sent out notification to the families about what procedures were followed and try to give people enough time so if they had prearranged trips, they could try to make other arrangements or that they need to call in to excuse the absences. I will bring a proposal to the board at our next meeting in February. We have one Institute Day scheduled in May, the first week of May, May 3rd, which we put in there just for that case if we had an emergency day. We can hold classes on that day. We would still need one more makeup day. Our options that are facing us right now are extending the school year by 1 day. The new Illinois state law requires that the last and first day of school be a minimum of 5 hours. So that would mean we would have to do either move graduation to that Tuesday or keep graduation on that Friday and run separate exams for seniors. Under the freshmen through juniors would take it when they come back from Memorial Day on Tuesday. A second option that I'm going to look into that the board may want to consider, it's not a legal holiday, however, it is a big holiday in the area. I believe it's this year is April 18th, which is a non-student attendance day. It's not a legal holiday, but that's also known as Good Friday. One possibility would be to hold classes and do an early release so that we would meet our minimum student attendance hours and then do an early release at 1 or 1:30, and that could be another makeup day. And that would be an option so that we don't have to extend the school year and move finals or possibly move graduation. So I will look at those options some more and report to the board in February. The thing that I'm most concerned about is that we haven't gotten to February yet and that there could still be some harsh weather, and then we have to worry about the spring with the possible flooding. Hopefully that was only supposed to happen once every 7 years. So, but with all the precipitation we have on the ground, I'm not sure how that will affect the rivers and any kind of flooding levels or river levels. So that's just something I'm thinking about. Other than that, in regards to superintendent's report, we had Pam could report out. We did the 8th grade registration this week. We're beginning to do staffing. We have set up another date to do the test and balance today with White in regards to the pool. So that will happen like the first or second week of February. I think it's February 7th off the top of my head. And that's all I have to report on right now from a superintendent's perspective.
Is the state looking at anything, Act of God days or anything like that?
The state superintendent, I was at a meeting with him last Friday. He sent out a notice again that until the school gets through their 5 emergency days, they cannot use an Act of God day. So, and since we haven't used any of our emergency days, we did non-attendance days. We're not foreseeing that we're going to have to use the Act of God Day, or we have the opportunity to use the Act of God Day.
Okay.
Shouldn't we be building in our 5 snow days? I don't understand why we'd be in any stretch of the imagination in a crunch. It's been important that the school was closed these 2 days, and the last time, the 2 days. Don't we build that in?
We do. That would then cause us to push school back now 4 days, which would mean we would need to move graduation and move final exams. So at the last meeting we talked as a board, that was one opportunity I presented 3 options to the board. The first option was to hold classes on Pulaski and President's Day and not move finals or graduation. That's what we ended up voting on. So now we have this option. If the board wants me to keep the Institute Day and not do any other alternatives, we can extend the school year by 2 days, and then we would have to talk about moving graduation and doing some of that.
One thing when you're considering this, when we did the change for 2 days, we were pretty much assuming we'd only have to make up 2 days. Now we know we have to make up 4. So it seems to me you should take a comprehensive look and see whether we should consider adding the 4 days and adding almost a week of school and just changing it back to the way it was, but have another week of school at the end, now that you know there's 4.
Yeah, the thing about doing that is we've already now sent home notifications to
No,
parents.
I'm just asking you to consider it. I'm not
Right.
saying that it has to be adopted.
Any other,
If we end up using another day in February or a flood day,
Have to definitely extend.
I mean, so, I mean, if we at least put it on the table that we extended a week, the school never used to be, graduation never used to be before Memorial Day. That's early. So if we extended that, or at least consider extending it that week, and if we end up with one more day, we'll still have to end up using Pulaski Day.
Correct. Right now, we have 2 days we need to make up, because the board approved the amended calendar and we communicated with the parents, so we still have 2 full days. So right now, you would move 2 days of finals till after that Tuesday, or there would be a finals on that Tuesday and finals on that Wednesday after Memorial Day. The question would be to the board, do you want the seniors to make up those days? Or do you want to have the seniors take separate exams before Memorial Day and still graduate on that Friday? Or do you want to move the graduation till the middle of the week?
I'd just like you to consider, in your answer, you're not considering the alternative now that we know it's 4 days. Should we relook at it again? Instead of, we had a calendar that was locked in, we changed it because the weather changed. Now the weather's changed again. I mean, I don't think there's a reason we can't go and say, well, now that there's 4 days, we're going to keep the schedule the way it was, but add 4 days at the end. But I'm understanding too that, as you said before, people plan graduation sometimes a year in advance. They might have people traveling and everything. It could be quite a burden for the seniors to do that.
Plus, you might have some people that have relatives coming in from out of town. Now you move it to the middle of the week instead of on like a Friday night. Something the board needs to consider.
If we have 2 more days because of a flood,
well, let's not say we're gonna have a flood,
Right,
and let's just
but-
pray that we don't have a flood.
I mean, we have to consider, if we have 2 more days, we don't have an option.
Right, and we have time.
Right.
I mean, because technically, if the board says they don't want me to use the non-attendance day of April 18th, we have till May 3rd. So, I mean, as long as I got a decision to families by the end of March, I mean, I think that's given more than enough time. So there's some things that we can look at, and I can present all those to you at the next meeting. That will already be February, I want to say 11th. So that would give us halfway through February already, so.
Right.
If we keep the senior schedule as is, can we add the days after Memorial Day for the freshman through junior years, and will they still qualify as days?
Yes, most school districts, not most, some school districts I have been at had 2 separate exam periods, one for seniors, and then they would graduate, and then their underclassmen would come back for 2 or 3 days the next week and take their exams. So it's not unheard of. It's just a matter of being a single school district, a smaller school. We have a lot of classes that are sophomore through senior. When you talk about some of our AP classes and some of our elective classes. So we would just want to give the teachers enough time to know that they're probably going to have to make 2 different final exams and make sure we have a process in place so that seniors can take exams on those days while the rest of the students are still in regular classes. So we'd have to come up with a couple alternative, locations where they would come take their exams for that period instead of being in class while the rest of the kids are in class. And so there's some operational things that I'm sure the building can figure out, but it's just something we have to consider.
It's my understanding that the AP exams happen
In May.
in May, so we don't have the AP exams to worry about. And many seniors who had high grade point averages may not even have exams.
There is, I believe, Pam, you can answer that question. I believe there is an exemption
Right,
process.
right.
Okay, any other questions for Kevin?